Hi, so I'm Nadya Bliss. I am really excited to be here today. So what I want to say, I kind of put under a title of everything I needed to know about cybersecurity I learned in CS 513. I apologize, I'm a little bit jet lagged. I just came back from a week in Japan. So if I'm loopy, please forgive me. But I'm definitely excited to be here. This is my first time at South by Southwest. So last week I published a column with passcode, of course, and I wanted to talk a bit more about that. So the column is an opinion piece titled, "It's Time for Us Geeks to Stand Up and Be Heard." And I will be talking about the points in the piece, but I also want to emphasize a bit the need for rigorous computer science education and the desperate need of more computer scientists, both in general and in the public debate. So I would not consider myself a cybersecurity expert. I am, however, definitely a computer scientist. Okay, so my PhD is in applied math, but both my bachelor's and master's are in computer science, and I was a practicing computer scientist for over a decade at MIT Lincoln Laboratory, where I oversaw computing and analytics efforts, including all of the high-performance computing for the lab. So I definitely identify as a computer scientist, kind of a mathy one. To me, computer science has always been incredibly exciting and beautiful. I very much appreciate the elegance of computational complexity and algorithm design. But lately I've been having a slightly different feeling, that of déjà vu. Hacked emails, compromised political organizations, flawed and vulnerable apps, and phones. I have seen all of this before. Well, maybe not so much the phones, because we didn't have iPhones back then. So I decided to take a look at my course syllabus from Cornell, Computer Science 513, from the spring 2002 when I was getting my master's. Cyber wasn't the thing back then. It possibly wasn't even a thing. As a matter of fact, our course was actually titled System Security. Still, the topics in that class resonate incredibly well today. Bogus servers, bogus clients, voting system security. It's worth pointing out that Professor Fred Schneider, a computer security legend, and someone who was talking about cybersecurity way before it was cool, taught the class. He was certainly a visionary, but he definitely did not have a crystal ball. Many of the vulnerabilities and security issues we learned about in that class 15 years ago are the same that we have today. As a matter of fact, computer scientists have been aware and publishing and discussing many of these issues for decades, and often have come up with ideas for solving them. But as society, we have prioritized gadgets and speed over our security and privacy. We want more connectivity, more networking, more options. We want fancier phones, automated cars, connected Barbies. That one freaks me out. We want everything faster and more specialized to our specific needs. We don't take the time to pause and think, why? What are the risks? We tend to do that with other areas of innovation, but given how much computing technology touches our everyday lives, it is that much more significant. So is it hopeless? Have we missed the opportunity to design secure systems from scratch? I don't think so. Plus, as a computer scientist, I actually really like hard problems. We tend to embrace them and welcome them with open arms. However, if we're really going to change cybersecurity, really make our gadgets safer, we, the geeks, are going to need to get a lot louder. And if you're not a geek, please start listening to us. We know stuff. For many of us engineers, it may feel incredibly unnatural to be the loudest person in the room. We're taught to be dispassionate and factual. We're taught to present algorithms, results, and system architectures, not ring the alarm bells. But we do have to make our points heard. We need to make sure that developers and executives and policymakers see us and hear us. We can do this without being alarmist or have people think that we wear foil hats. Though lately I've been thinking that tinfoil hats are a good thing. I personally am incredibly creeped out by all of the connected toys, and I don't really understand why my 6-year-old needs a teddy bear that talks to her. So let us arm people with knowledge that's useful to them. And we need to seek venues where people will listen. I often come across cybersecurity panels and committees where there are no computer scientists at all. We should be consistently represented. The example I mentioned in the column is the Cybersecurity Advisory Board the Democratic National Committee put together after the recent set of breaches. It's an amazing panel with an amazing set of expertise in law, technology policy, technology governance, national security, but there's a huge omission. There's no actual classically trained computer scientists. I'm not saying that it is an either or, that those people shouldn't be there, but I do think it's an and. And particularly, we need all of that expertise, and certainly we need the people that have been talking and working on these problems for decades. That, of course, is just one example. There may be, computer scientists are often left out of the public debate about computer science. And when we are, we don't necessarily speak up, we let it go. So one other point I'd like to add. I am a huge proponent of interdisciplinary education and research. Those who know me well know that. As a matter of fact, that's what we do in my institute back at Arizona State University. You need all sorts of disciplines to address diversity of these difficult problems. However, that said, I strongly believe that rigorous computer science education has much to offer to today's challenges. I don't think there's ever been a more exciting time to be a computer scientist. The world genuinely needs us. And that is worth shouting from the rooftops. More kids should enter computer science. There's so many opportunities, and the work, quite frankly, is fascinatingly interesting. Though I would definitely encourage colleges and universities to add a public policy engagement component to computer science curricula, just to make sure that the next generation of computer scientists is a little bit more outspoken. Part of the reason we're in the current cybersecurity mess today is because no one listened to computer experts back in the day. We were ignored and disregarded, and when we kept doing our work and publishing our papers instead of insisting on being engaged. Both sides need to be more proactive. So geeks, please stand up and be heard. And if you're not a geek, please listen. This, of course, is not just a computer science issue. Experts are often not included in public discourse. But as connectivity and automation are poised for dizzying expansion, it is that much more important for computer science voices to be represented, both in technology and public discourse. It's not too late to begin working together, so this geek is speaking up. I hope you listen. Oh, and Professor Schneider, thanks. It's amazing that through the years, I keep coming back to that class. Well, actually not that amazing, as that was a brilliant class taught by a brilliant human. And hey, like I said, we geeks know stuff. Thanks.